It all started on one of those nights when the whole world just feels wrong. The rain was coming down hard, almost like the sky itself was pissed off. Midnight hit in Nia's apartment, but she wasn't even close to sleeping. She was pacing around her living room in this long silk robe, looking like she'd been holding her breath for hours. Her phone was sitting on the table, dead silent. And that's what scared her the most. Her husband, Tariq, still wasn't home. And yeah, it wasn't the first time he worked late. The man was knee-deep in a massive construction project that always sucked up his time. But tonight felt different. Something inside her chest just wouldn't sit still, like a cold little knot that kept tightening with every passing minute. They'd argued that afternoon. Nothing crazy, just money stuff. She told him he needed to chill with his flashy spending, and he got annoyed like she insulted his entire existence. Normally, he would have texted her by now. Still at the site, traffic's nuts, don't wait up. But tonight? Nothing. No text. No call. She'd called him 3 times already. First call rang, then nothing. Next 2 went straight to voicemail. She kept telling herself, his battery probably died. Relax. But her heart wasn't buying it. The rain outside started sounding like someone banging a drum against her window. Nia walked over, pulled back the curtains, and stared down at the empty, wet street. Nothing. No cars, no people, just the echo of rain hitting concrete. Then, exactly 12:30 a.m., the landline rang. It was so loud in the quiet apartment that Nia actually jumped. Nobody ever called the landline. Nobody. Her hand shook when she picked it up. "Hello," she whispered. "Ma'am, is this Mrs. Nia, wife of Mr. Tariq?" The voice was cold. Too professional. Too calm. Yes, this is her. What happened? Is something wrong with my husband?" "Ma'am, please stay calm. Your husband has been involved in a severe traffic accident on Interstate 85. He was brought to Atlanta General Medical. His condition is critical. They're taking him into emergency surgery right now." Everything in Nia's world just froze. Her knees almost gave out. She had to hold onto the wall just to stay upright. Critical surgery. Emergency. Her husband, Dr. Alistair Vaughn, will be leading the operation, the voice continued. Nia knew that name. Tariq trusted him more than anyone in the world medically. That brought her a tiny sliver of comfort, but critical kept echoing in her mind like a nightmare. "I'm on my way," she choked out and hung up. For a moment, she couldn't move. She couldn't even think. Then suddenly her body snapped into motion. She grabbed her coat, her keys, her wallet, didn't even change out of her silk robe. She didn't care. She just ran. Outside, the cold rain slapped her skin, but she didn't stop. She sprinted to her car, hands shaking so bad she could barely fit the key into the ignition. Third try, engine started. She floored it. The drive to Atlanta General normally took 30 minutes. Tonight it felt like a lifetime. Her tears mixed with the raindrops sliding across the windshield. The wipers were going crazy, but the rain was coming too fast, too hard. She blew past red lights, swerved around cars. She didn't care about a ticket or an accident or anything. She just wanted to get to her husband. She kept whispering, "Please God, save him. Please, please save him." Over and over, like a chant, like the words themselves were the only thing keeping her from falling apart. Finally, the massive white building of the hospital came into view. Nia didn't even park properly. She swung her car right into the emergency zone, ignored some security guard yelling at her, and ran inside. Dripping wet, breathless, half crying, she slammed her hands on the information desk. "My husband, Tariq. Car accident," she screamed. The nurse typed fast. "Yes, ma'am. He's on the 4th floor in the surgical wing. Operating room 3. Nia didn't wait. She sprinted to the elevator, punched the button like she was trying to break it, then gave up waiting and ran up the emergency stairwell, 4 floors, without stopping once. When she hit the 4th floor, her whole world shifted. That hallway, it was quiet. Too quiet. Cold. The kind of quiet that gets under your skin. And at the end of the hall were those double steel doors. A red light glowing above them. Operating room 3, in session. Her husband was in there fighting for his life. She started walking toward the doors, then running. Tears filled her eyes again. She reached out to push the door open. A hand grabbed her arm. "Don't," a voice whispered. Nia spun around. A young nurse. Blue scrubs. Face pale. Eyes wide with fear. The name badge read Ayana. "You're Tarek's wife, right?" The nurse whispered urgently. "Yes, let me go. I have to go in." "No." Ayana snapped, gripping her tighter. "You can't go in there. You must not let them know you're here. You need to hide. Right now."
"What? Why?"
"My husband is in critical condition." Ayana leaned in close. Her eyes were shaking with terror. "Ma'am, listen to me. This isn't a surgery. It's a setup." She swallowed hard. "A trap." Nia froze. "What are you talking about? A trap? For who?" "For you," Ayana whispered. "And there's no time. You have to hide. If they see you, it's over." She pointed to a small wooden door behind a vending machine. Unmarked. Almost invisible. "That room.
"Go."
Lock it from the inside. Don't make a sound. No matter what happens. Do not come out until I come back." Nia stared at her, completely overwhelmed. "Why should I trust you?" she whispered. Ayana's voice cracked. "Because I saw your husband's real medical file before Dr. Vaughn changed it." Nia's heart dropped. "Changed it?
"Why?"
What's in it?" Ayana's voice dropped to a near-silent whisper. "He's not the one in danger." Nia's blood ran cold. Ayana pushed her toward the door.
"Go. Now."
They could come out any second. Her body moved before her brain did. She slipped into the dark room, locked the door, and the second the lock clicked, she heard footsteps outside. Then nothing. Silence. Just her own heartbeat pounding like a drum. The darkness inside that tiny locker room felt alive. Nia pressed her back against the cold door, sliding down to the floor as her breathing turned shallow and shaky. Her whole body trembled, not from the cold, but from the pure terror she couldn't swallow down. Ayana's words kept replaying in her mind like an echo she couldn't shut off. "This isn't a rescue. This is a trap. Not for him. For you." Nothing made sense. Her husband was supposed to be in critical condition. She was supposed to be by his side. She was supposed to be praying for him, crying for him, begging God to save him. So, why did that nurse's eyes look like she was saving her? The room smelled like old coffee and sweat. The only light came from a thin strip of brightness sneaking in under the door. It wasn't enough to see, but it was enough to give shape to the metal lockers around her. Her hands shook as she hugged her knees tight to her chest. She tried to breathe, but the panic kept clamping down on her lungs. "What the hell is happening?" she whispered to herself. But the silence didn't answer. She pressed her ear against the door. Nothing.
No footsteps. No voices.
Just her heartbeat pounding like someone knocking from inside her ribcage. Every second felt like a full minute. Every minute felt like an hour. Then, finally, she heard something. A click.
Soft. Sharp.
The sound of a door unlocking in the hallway. Nia held her breath and leaned forward, pressing her eye to the keyhole, but the angle was all wrong. She crawled toward the small crack between the hinges and the door frame, straining to see anything, any movement, any shadow. The red light above operating room 3, the light that had been glowing when she arrived. It was off now, and she heard it. The hiss of the steel doors opening. Her heart almost stopped. She pressed closer. She could barely see a sliver of the hallway, but enough. A silhouette stepped out first. Dr. Vaughn. She recognized the tall frame, the crisp posture, the controlled movements. He was still in surgical scrubs, but he didn't look sweaty, or stressed, or exhausted. He looked casual, relaxed, like he'd just finished eating lunch, not performing an emergency surgery. He peeled off his gloves smeared with dark red stains that looked like blood. Fake blood, she would soon learn. He tossed them in a bin without a second thought. Then the second silhouette appeared. Nia expected a gurney. She expected to see her husband lying unconscious, hooked to machines. Instead, she saw Tarek, walking, on his own two legs, stretching his neck side to side like he'd just gotten out of a long meeting. He wasn't injured. He wasn't critical. He wasn't bleeding. He was fine. Nia slapped a hand over her mouth to stop a scream from breaking loose. Tears burned her eyes. Her chest clenched like it was collapsing in on itself. This wasn't possible. This couldn't be real. He had to be hurt. He had to be the victim. Then a third person walked out. A woman.
Tall. Slim.
Long weave. Lab coat thrown over an evening dress like she'd just come from a date. Nia recognized her instantly.
Nice.
Tarek's personal assistant. The one who always gave Nia that little sideways look. The one who always seemed a little too close, a little too available. Nia had felt jealousy before. Every woman in her position would. But this wasn't jealousy. This was betrayal.
Deep.
Cruel. Cold-blooded. The plan worked perfectly, Tarek said, his tone casual, cruel even. Nia felt like her entire soul was sucked out of her body.
He laughed. Laughed.
Dr. Vaughn chuckled too, tossing his gloves aside. The emergency staff were all on my side. Fake ambulance. Fake accident report. Everything's logged in the system. By now, your wife has probably reached the building. Nice smirked, crying her little heart out, thinking he's dying. Tarek smirked back. She'll be devastated. The girl's so gullible. Nia bit so hard into her palm, she nearly tasted blood. The sting in her skin was nothing compared to the knife tearing through her chest. They weren't just cheating. They weren't just lying. They had planned something darker. Dr. Vaughn stepped forward, dropping his voice. Once she arrives, you head to recovery. Look weak, but stable. I'll give her the good news and the bad news. The operation saved you, but we found a dangerous blood clot. Janice's eyes glittered. And she'll have to sign for another surgery? Vaughn nodded. High risk. Very high risk. Complications during anesthesia. Internal bleeding. If she doesn't wake up, he shrugged. Such a tragic loss. But we did everything we could. Nia's stomach twisted. That's when it clicked. The insurance. The signature. The new policy Tarek made her sign weeks ago. The argument earlier that day, it wasn't about regular money problems. It was about her trying to cancel the insurance that would have made him a millionaire if she died. Her entire world collapsed in 1 second. Tarek wasn't the target. She was. He wasn't dying. He wanted her dead. They were planning to kill her on an operating table. Her husband. His mistress. Their family doctor. All three stood in the hallway, plotting her death like they were discussing brunch plans. Nia's tears dried. Her breath steadied. The fear began to melt away. And something else took its place. A cold, burning fury. Then the trio started walking away. Their steps got softer. The hallway fell silent again. Nia leaned her forehead against the door, shaking violently. But it wasn't fear anymore. It was rage. Rage that could burn the whole hospital down. Suddenly, a noise. Right at her door. Her breath stopped. Her heart froze. A key turning. Slowly. Oh God. They knew she was here. They knew she heard everything. They were coming to finish the job. The door cracked open. Light spilled in. A figure stepped inside. Nia gasped. It wasn't Tarek. It wasn't Vaughn. It wasn't Nice. It was Ayana. Still alive. Eyes wide with urgency. Mrs. Nia, she whispered, closing the door behind her. We don't have much time. Nia grabbed Ayana's arm, desperate. I saw everything. I heard them. They're going to kill me. Tomorrow. On that table. Ayana swallowed hard. I know. And I'm going to help you stop them. Ayana locked the door behind her, chest rising and falling fast, like she had sprinted across the whole hospital. For a second, the two women just stared at each other, one drowning in shock, the other burning with urgency. Nia grabbed her arm. Ayana, why? Why are you helping me? You don't even know me. Ayana's face twisted with a mix of anger and sadness. I've been watching Dr. Vaughn for a long time, she whispered. Long enough to know he's not some brilliant savior. He's a butcher hiding behind a white coat. Nia blinked hard, trying to process. What do you mean? Ayana crouched down beside her. When I first started here, I noticed a pattern. Patients who were perfectly stable suddenly complicated during surgery. Elderly patients with big insurance policies, rich businessmen with high payouts, people without family to ask questions. Her voice tightened. He'd schedule a simple surgery. Then suddenly they'd bleed out or react badly to anesthesia. Nothing anyone could prove. But the timing, the money that followed. I knew something was wrong. Nia's blood chilled. Ayana continued. Tonight, when Tariq's file popped up, I checked the system. The accident data wasn't from the ER. It was manually entered by Dr. Vaughn from his office. That never happens. Ever. So I went to look. Nia swallowed hard. In his office? Ayana nodded. I found her husband's real medical report from 2 days ago. Perfect health. No injuries.
No trauma.
No reason for emergency surgery. Nia's breath caught in her throat. And then, Ayana added quietly, I found another file.
Yours.
A copy of a life insurance policy.
Signed.
Witnessed. And Dr. Vaughn listed as your medical advisor. Nia closed her eyes as the truth sank in deeper. Tariq didn't just want money. He wanted her gone. Ayana, she whispered, if you saw all this, why didn't you go to the police? Ayana let out a bitter, broken laugh. Police? With what evidence? Screenshots? Suspicion? Trust me, ma'am, without hard proof, they'd call me paranoid and fire me for snooping. She leaned closer.
But now?
Now I've seen the plan with my own eyes. And you've overheard the rest. We can bring them down, but we have to be smart. Nia wiped her face, anger replacing fear. What do we do? Ayana took a breath, switching into survival mode. They're waiting for you upstairs. They think you're going to walk into the recovery room, crying your eyes out, ready to sign your death papers. Nia clenched her jaw. But you're not going to sign anything, Ayana said. Not tonight. You'll say you need time. You're in shock. You want to call family. Any excuse. And then, Nia asked. Ayana's voice lowered to a whisper. Then you need to get evidence. Real evidence. Enough to bury these monsters alive. Nia's heart started pounding again, but this time with adrenaline. What kind of evidence? Ayana ticked them off on her fingers. First, Tariq's real medical report. The one that proves he's not hurt. It's in Dr. Vaughn's office. Nia nodded, absorbing every word. Second, the fake surgical log in the computer system. It will show that the emergency was fabricated. Can we access that? Nia asked. Ayana held up a white card. Master access. It'll open every door on this floor and the basement. Nia stared at it. Basement. What's in the basement? She asked slowly. Ayana pointed toward the floor. That's where the camera servers are. The recordings from tonight. And I'm willing to bet Tariq didn't arrive in an ambulance at all. He probably walked right into the staff parking lot. Nia's eyes widened. You can get video of him walking in? Yes, Ayana whispered. And once you have that, their whole fake accident story collapses. But how do I get down there without being seen? Nia asked. Ayana's eyes sharpened. I'll trigger the fire alarm on an upper floor. That'll pull security and staff away. While they're running around, you take the service elevator down to the basement. This was becoming very real. Very dangerous. Very fast. Ayana, I can't do this alone. Ayana took her hand. You won't. I'll meet you at the basement exit after you grab the files. We'll get out together. Just then, Nia's phone buzzed in her hand. The name glowing on the screen made her blood turn to ice. Dr. Alistair Vaughn. They were starting the next phase of their plan. Ayana leaned in urgently. Answer it.
Cry.
Shake your voice. Play the terrified wife. Don't let him suspect a thing. Nia swallowed hard, pressed answer, and brought the phone to her ear. Mrs. Nia, Dr. Vaughn said in a warm, almost fatherly tone. Thank God. We've been waiting for you. Nia forced a trembling breath. Chow, how is Tarek? We almost lost him, Vaughn said smoothly. But he's stable for now. You can see him. Come to recovery room too. Nia coughed out a cry. I'm coming. I'm coming right now. She hung up. Ayana squeezed her shoulders. This is it. You're about to walk into a room with 3 people who want you dead. You need to act the part.
Cry. Shake.
Break down if you have to. Just don't sign anything. Nia nodded slowly. Then she stood up. The woman who had walked into the hospital tonight was terrified, panicked, broken. The woman who walked out of that locker room? Her eyes were sharp.
Her jaw was set.
She looked like she was ready to fight the devil himself. Nia stepped into the hallway, took one deep breath, and walked toward the recovery room, broken on the outside, but burning with fury underneath. This time, she wasn't the prey. She was the hunter. Nia walked down that sterile hallway like she was stepping onto a stage she never auditioned for. Her hands trembled just enough to look real. Her breathing was uneven, broken, scared, because that part wasn't acting. But underneath all that panic was a fire burning hotter than anything she'd ever felt. She stopped outside recovery room 2, took a shaky breath, then pushed the door open. The room was dim, only lit by the glow of monitors and the soft beeping of a fake ECG machine. And there they were, the monsters in white coats and silk dresses. Dr. Vaughn, clipboard in hand, playing the role of the caring doctor. Chanice, standing there with fake concern plastered across her face. And Tarek, lying in the hospital bed like the world's worst actor trying to win an Oscar. His skin had been powdered to look pale, and 4 tube taped to his hand. His eyes closed, his breathing slow and exaggerated.
Nia almost laughed.
She almost cracked right there in front of them, but she kept it together. Instead, she ran to his bedside like the helpless wife they expected. Tarek, oh my God! She grabbed his hand, letting her voice break into sobs. Baby, I thought I lost you. His hand was warm and steady. Not the hand of a dying man. Not the hand of someone who'd just come out of surgery. He opened his eyes a little, just enough to look weak. Baby, I'm okay, he croaked, fake as a $3 bill. Dr. Vaughn saved me. Nia almost spit in his face, but she tightened her grip instead, letting tears fall as her mask stayed perfectly in place. Dr. Vaughn stepped closer, his voice calm and fatherly. Mrs. Nia, I know this is overwhelming. Your husband was lucky tonight. Very lucky. We managed to stop the internal bleeding. Nia nodded, trembling. But there it was. The word she'd been waiting for. The word that was the trapdoor to her grave. What, but? She whispered. Dr. Vaughn flipped a page on his clipboard like he'd rehearsed this moment. While operating, we discovered something else. A large, dangerous blood clot near the liver. It's unrelated to the accident, but extremely risky. It could burst at any moment. Nia widened her eyes, letting real fear mix with fake shock. So, what do we do? She asked, her voice cracking. We need to remove it first thing tomorrow morning, he said. A high-risk procedure. Complicated. It must be done immediately. I'll need your consent. He extended the clipboard toward her. Right there was a form titled, Consent for High-Risk Surgery. And beneath it, a signature line. Her name was supposed to go there. Her death warrant. Tarek played his part perfectly. His eyes fluttered open again. Sign it, baby, please. I trust Dr. Vaughn. Chanice stepped forward, her voice dripping with sugar and venom. It's for him, Mrs. Nia. You don't want to hesitate when your husband's life is on the line. The 3 of them surrounded her like wolves circling a cornered lamb. Nia looked at the pen, at the signature line, at Tarek's fake sick face. Then she let her whole body tremble. I can't, she whispered. Dr. Vaughn's smile flickered, just a hair. He didn't expect resistance. Mrs. Nia, this is urgent, he pressed. Nia let out a wail. I feel faint. I'm dizzy. I can't think. I have to call his mother. I can't do this alone. I need a minute. Before any of them could react, she stumbled backward, nearly falling, her hand over her mouth like she was about to throw up. "I need to breathe," she gasped. "I need air, I need a bathroom." And she bolted out the door. "Mrs. Nia, wait." Dr. Vaughn called out, trying to sound concerned but unable to hide the irritation in his voice. She didn't turn back.
She ran.
Her feet pounded against the tile floor. Her breath echoed off the walls. She passed the nurse's station, turned a corner, kept going. She didn't stop until she reached the end of the hallway. Then, a deafening alarm exploded through the building. The fire alarm. Ayana had triggered it. Immediately, doors opened. Nurses rushed out. Security guards hustled toward the main elevators, talking into radios. Perfect chaos. No one noticed Nia slip into the staff-only corridor. No one noticed her swipe the master access card on the metal door. No one noticed her slip into the service elevator. She hammered the basement button like her life depended on it.
The doors closed.
The noise outside faded. And suddenly, she was alone again. The elevator rattled downward, descending into the cold, dark belly of the hospital. As the doors opened on the basement floor, she stepped into a place that felt nothing like the rest of the building. It was dim,
Damp.
concrete floors, pipes overhead, an industrial hum vibrating through the walls. This wasn't where patients were saved. This was where secrets were buried. Nia walked forward, clutching the access card tight in her hand. Every sign on the wall pointed deeper into the maze.
Archive.
Maintenance. Server room. Restricted. And then she saw them. 2 doors. Side by side. Left. Dr. Alistair Vaughn. Chief of Surgery. Right. Server room. Authorized personnel only. Her heart pounded so hard she was afraid it would echo off the walls. This was it. The point of no return. She started with the office. Swiped the card. The door clicked open. The room smelled of leather, coffee, and expensive ego. Thick carpet. Fancy bookshelves. A massive mahogany desk, locked. Of course. Nia moved fast. Scanning the room. Pulling at drawers. Checking shelves. That's when she saw it. A binder labeled Special Project. Her stomach twisted as she pulled it out. Inside. A thin folder. No label. She opened it. The breath was punched out of her lungs. Tarek's real medical report. Dated 2 days ago. Full health, optimal physical condition. He hadn't been sick. He hadn't been injured. He hadn't been in an accident. They'd planned every detail to kill her. Next, she found a second folder. Financial statements. Debt notices. Bankruptcy filings. Millions owed under Tarek's construction company. Right there was the motive. Proof that he needed her life insurance payout. Nia lifted her phone and took photos of every page. Her hands trembled so hard she nearly dropped it. Once everything was captured, she placed the files back exactly as she found them. Now for the cameras. She stepped out of the office and moved to the metal door beside it. She swiped the card. The server room door slid open, and a gust of cold air hit her straight in the face. Rows and rows of server racks filled the room, blinking with green and yellow lights. This was the heartbeat of the hospital's surveillance. This was where Tarek's lies were about to collapse. Nia took a deep breath and stepped inside. She wasn't the prey anymore. She was the storm coming for all of them. The server room felt like walking straight into a refrigerator. Cold. Clinical. Silent. Except for the steady hum of machines working in the dark. Nia hugged her arms around her body as she looked at the countless blinking racks. Every single one of them was storing something. Faces, movements, secrets. And tonight, one of them held the truth that could save her life. She stared at the control panel mounted on the wall. A small monitor. A keyboard. A slot for an access card. She slid Ayana's card through the reader. A soft beep echoed. Access granted. Her pulse raced. She navigated to the security system, hands trembling but steady enough to work. Hallway 3A alive. Operating wing live.
Mine and
Ambulance bay archive. That last one made her heart stop for a second. Ambulance bay archive. She clicked it. A file directory popped up with timestamps. She scrolled to tonight's date. 8:26 p.m. 8:27 p.m. 8:28 p.m. She hit play. The footage loaded. An empty ambulance bay.
No flashing lights. No paramedics.
No emergency vehicle. Just silence. Then, a silver sedan rolled up casually.
Parked.
And, from the passenger's side stepped Tarek, perfectly healthy, walking like he was just out shopping. Then, the driver got out. Dr. Vaughn, carrying a medical bag like he was arriving for a lunch break. Chani stepped out next, adjusting her dress, checking her lipstick in the car window. Not a scratch on any of them. Nia felt anger crawl up her spine like venom. She fast-forwarded. More footage. More lies. At 8:32 p.m., all three casually walked through the back entrance, labeled staff only. She watched Tarek fake a limp, then drop it, then laugh with Chanice. It was all there. Every second of their scam. Recorded. Time-stamped. Undeniable. She hit export. The loading bar crawled like it was dragging the weight of her whole life. As it reached 100%, the system saved the file to a USB port beneath the monitor. She grabbed the hospital-issued flash drive, stuffed it into her pocket. Okay. One set of evidence down. She needed more. She clicked open hallway cam 3B, where she hid earlier. The camera had caught everything. Dr. Vaughn walking out of the fake surgery. Tarek strolling next to him. Chanice adjusting her hair. Not a single sign of distress. She exported that too. Her fingers were shaking, but her mind was laser-focused. Then, just to be thorough, she checked operating room 3. Her stomach churned. Dr. Vaughn had staged a surgery with no patient. Just tools laid out, machines turned on, and him pacing like he was pretending to work. She exported that. 3 files. 3 smoking guns. Suddenly, a loud metallic clang echoed from outside the server room. Nia froze. Someone was down here. She quickly ejected the USB, shoved it deep in her hoodie pocket, and killed the monitor screen. The footsteps grew louder. Slow. Heavy. Deliberate. That wasn't Ayana's walk. Nia backed up between 2 server racks, crouching low, her breathing silent and thin. The footsteps stopped right outside the door. A hand tried the handle. The door didn't open. They didn't have master access. But they had something else. A voice. Deep. Menacing. Too familiar. Tarek said he saw her running this way. Nia's blood went cold. It was the head of hospital security. Another voice answered. This one smoother. Check every room. She's panicked. She couldn't have gone far. That was Dr. Vaughn. They were looking for her. She clamped a hand over her mouth to stop her breathing from shaking. The men walked away, but their footsteps echoed down the hallway like they were circling prey. She had seconds. Maybe less. She slipped out from behind the server racks and hurried toward the back door, the emergency exit. She pushed it open. A loud beep blared. Not the main alarm. Just a door alert. But loud enough to be dangerous. She didn't look back. She ran. The basement corridor stretched long and empty, with pipes dripping overhead and shadows stretching across the floor. She sprinted around corners, passing maintenance rooms and storage closets, the USB burning like fire in her pocket. When she reached the far end, she slammed into a metal door. Locked. She swiped the card. Access granted. She burst into a small loading area used for hospital supplies. Stacks of crates lined the walls. A forklift sat unused in the corner. And there, emerging from behind a stack of boxes, Ayana. She rushed over, grabbing Nia's shoulders. Did you get it? She asked breathlessly. Nia nodded, pulling the flash drive from her hoodie. Ayana's eyes widened with relief. That's enough to bury them, she whispered. That's enough to take down the whole operation. Before Nia could speak, a voice echoed from down the hall. There. Ayana whipped around. Tarek. Dr. Vaughn. And 2 security guards were storming toward them. Nia's heart lunged into her throat. Ayana grabbed her hand. Run. They bolted toward the service exit at the back of the loading bay. Tarek shouted. NIA. Stop. The two women didn't turn back. They sprinted through the exit door, out into the freezing night air behind the hospital. A cold wind whipped against Nia's face. The parking lot lights flickered overhead. Ayana pointed. Behind those dumpsters. The alley leads to the main street. We can call for help once we...
Bang!
A gunshot cracked through the night. Nia gasped. Ayana stumbled. Blood blossomed across her white scrub top. She fell to her knees. Nia screamed.
No, Ayana.
Ayana grabbed Nia's hand, her grip weak but urgent. Don't stop, go. Her eyes filled with pain, but also determination. They can't get that drive. Another gunshot. Closer this time. Tarek's voice boomed. I said stop. Ayana shoved Nia with the last burst of strength she had. Run. And Nia did. Her heart tearing. Her chest breaking. But her legs moving like her life depended on it, because it did. She ran into the darkness of the alley, clutching the flash drive that held the truth. Behind her, Ayana collapsed onto the concrete. The night swallowed everything except the sound of Nia's footsteps pounding toward freedom. Nia didn't stop running. Not for a second. Her legs burned. Her lungs screamed. But adrenaline carried her faster than fear ever could. The alley twisted and turned like a snake, littered with trash and puddles reflecting the flickering streetlights. Every shadow felt alive. Every sound made her heart skip a beat. She clutched the flash drive tighter than anything in her life. This small piece of plastic held the proof that could destroy her husband, Dr. Vaughn, and Sean Ice. Her mind raced. They couldn't be allowed to get it back. Finally, she burst onto the main street, panting and soaked from sweat and the night's chill. The city lights stretched endlessly ahead, cars humming by. She scanned frantically. Her phone. She needed it. Hands trembling, she dialed Ayana's number, praying. No answer. Only a voicemail beep. She swore under her breath, forcing herself to stay calm. She couldn't think of losing her now, not after everything. A pair of headlights swept across the street. A black SUV slowed beside her. The passenger window rolled down. It was Ayana.
Alive.
Bloodied, but alive. Get in, she yelled. Nia didn't hesitate. She jumped in, slamming the door. Ayana floored it, tires screeching against the wet asphalt as they tore through the night. Inside, Ayana clutched a small first aid kit, quickly pressing a rag to her bleeding side. I'm fine, she gritted through her teeth. We've got bigger problems. Nia stared at her, shock and worry battling with rage. They're coming after us. All three of them. They won't stop until that drive is back. Nia nodded, gripping the seat. I have it. And we're going to expose them. Tonight. Ayana's eyes flickered with urgency. First, we need a safe house. Someone who won't be traced. Nia swallowed hard. Her mind raced. She knew just the place. A friend of the family who had stayed out of Tarek's business affairs.
Quiet. Loyal.
Not connected to any of this mess. Drive, she said. Ayana smirked, despite the blood. You're full of surprises. The SUV merged into the night, disappearing from view. They reached the safe house, a modest, brick townhouse tucked away in a quiet neighborhood. Ayana ushered Nia inside, bolting the doors behind them. The air smelled of old books and antiseptic. Nia finally dropped the flash drive onto the small table. She stared at it, heart still hammering. This is it, she whispered. This is all we need. Ayana nodded, grabbing her laptop. We'll start piecing it together. Emails, photos, timestamps, everything. Once we have this compiled, no one can deny it. Not the cops, not the courts, nobody. Nia exhaled, realizing she had never felt more alive and terrified at the same time. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She picked it up, hesitating. Tarek, a cold, venomous voice said. You think you can run from me? You think a little trick like this will save you? Nia's stomach dropped. Her fingers shook. She almost dropped the phone. Ayana grabbed it. Let me, she said, her fingers flying over the touchscreen. The call was traced, blocked, and forwarded to a secure line. Not today, Tarek, Ayana whispered. Not today. They both shared a brief nod. Silent agreement. The hunt was about to begin, but now they were on the offense. Ayana set up the laptop, connecting the flash drive. Files open one by one. Evidence after evidence. Footage of Tarek walking into the hospital fully healthy. Dr. Vaughn faking a surgery. Chanice in the lobby, watching for Nia. Emails plotting the fake accident. Financial documents proving motive. Nia's eyes went wide. This was everything. Ayana leaned back, letting out a sigh. Once we present this, their world ends. Tonight. Nia shook her head. But they won't just sit there. They'll come after us, Ayana. They know we have the proof. Ayana's eyes flashed. And that's why we hit them first. We go live. Broadcast. Social media, lawyers, news, anything that leaves zero room for escape. They have no backup plan, no alibi. We have the timeline, the footage, everything. Nia felt the rush of power, the sense of control she hadn't had since the hospital. The helpless, terrified wife.
Gone.
Replaced by someone ready to fight. Hours passed. They cross-checked every file, every timestamp. The night grew quiet outside, shadows crawling across the walls. Nia's phone buzzed repeatedly, Tarek trying every number, every contact. Ayana ignored it. You're not going to answer him. Not now. Not ever. Nia finally allowed herself a moment to breathe. For the first time in hours, maybe days, she smiled. A dangerous, defiant smile. They're done, she whispered. I'm done being scared. Ayana nodded. And once we hit publish, the world will see exactly what they are. No hiding, no excuses, no lies. The two women exchanged a look. A silent promise. Whatever came next, they would see it through. Together. The sun was starting to peek through the night sky, turning the first hints of dawn into pale light. The world outside was waking up, oblivious to the storm that had raged inside Atlanta General. Inside the townhouse, Nia and Ayana prepared. The trap had been uncovered. The predators had been exposed. The next move? Total takedown. And Nia? She would never be the same. The dawn was creeping in, soft orange and pink spilling over the city skyline. Inside the townhouse, Nia and Ayana were still hunched over the laptop, finalizing every piece of evidence. Every clip, every screenshot, every email perfectly lined up. The storm that had raged all night was finally quiet for now. Nia leaned back, exhaustion written all over her face. I can't believe we did this, she whispered. Ayana shook her head, a small grin breaking through the fatigue.
No kidding.
They thought they were smarter than everyone. But we outplayed them, Nia. Every step of the way. Nia glanced at the flash drive sitting on the table. The tiny device now held the power to destroy the people who had betrayed her, her husband, Dr. Vaughn, and Chanice. She felt a strange mix of relief, anger, and satisfaction. Finally, justice was within reach. Ayana pointed to the screen. All we have to do now is release it. Lawyers, media, everything. They won't know what hit them. Nia nodded, determination setting in. Let's make sure the world sees the truth. No more hiding, no more lies. The two women uploaded the files carefully, one final check. Then a click. It was done. Within minutes, their proof was everywhere. Secure servers, verified accounts, news tips. The evidence was undeniable. Every lie exposed. Every plot revealed. Somewhere across the city, Tarek probably realized that his carefully constructed empire of deceit was collapsing. Dr. Vaughn and Chanice had no escape. Nia let out a long breath. The fear was gone. The terror of the night had been replaced by empowerment. For the first time in months, maybe years, she felt completely free. Ayana smiled at her. You did it. You're safe now. More than that, you've taken them down before they could hurt anyone else. Nia smiled back, a mixture of relief and quiet pride. Yes, she said softly. And I'm never looking back. The two women shared a moment of silence, listening to the soft hum of the city waking up. And that's the story, guys. Crazy, right? If you loved this wild ride, don't forget to smash that like button. It really helps me bring more insane stories like this your way. Also, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a story that will blow your mind. Drop a comment below telling me what you'd do if you were in Nia's shoes. I read every single one. Trust me, you won't want to miss the next story we have coming up. Stick around, buckle up, and I'll see you in the next one.